Alright, so I'll do a little build showcase slash guide here for INSTA SNIPE Gemling, the build I've been playing the past couple days. So basically it revolves around SNIPE and the Gemling quality. So you got 41% more attack speed, that's the big one, and then 41% longer perfect window timing. So this build is aiming to do is to turn it into a one button click, and you get the perfect timing to instantly happen, and you can just keep spamming it. So instead of having to channel it, it's essentially now just a one-time click build, which gives you this huge explosion. I have it at 2275 attack damage, and it does shotgun as well. Has a huge explosion, has great clear. Very, very good. Unfortunately, maybe not unfortunately, but I don't utilize the Icy Blast because SNIPE itself actually cannot freeze due to the payoff skills thing here. Payoff skills cannot inflict the debuff they interact with, so cannot freeze. Unfortunately, granted, we don't really need that damage. 2275 is plenty. So how do we actually get it to be instant? One, a ton of attack speed. So quality stacking, we got 41 more attack speed here. Then I'm using a Quill Rain. You can upgrade this twice with the Verisium Anvil. So it does get a little bit of base damage, still not great, but there's that. I don't want to make sure you get one with 100% increased arrow speed for this node. Just a little bit of extra damage. You're gonna really want to squeeze out all the damage you can on this thing. Optionally, if you are very, very rich, you can get an Alder's Legacy and then use it on a Quill Rain, and then it will give you like a socketable that essentially gives you like a mini Quill Rain. Gives you 50% increased attack speed and 20% less attack damage, and then you can use that on a rare bow, get a lot of attack speed stuff. And I think that's the best way to go, but very, very expensive. So I'm just using a Quill Rain, and it obviously does the job very well, and it's very smooth with the attack speed. So there's that, and then another thing you need to take into account for SNIPE is the perfect timing windows. So here, Opportunity basically fixes it completely. I have skills have 118% longer perfect timing window during effect. That with the longer perfect timing window on the quality is good enough. It's basically you're looking for attack speed. You don't need to worry about the timing. There is like a ratio you need to hit, but it's nothing you ever need to think about. All you ever need to know is the attack speed. Generally. I think if you have too much attack speed, you will need to get more perfect timing window, but I've never really had to think about it. That being said, I am using a Salem, which has a longer perfect timing window. This actually doesn't do anything for the build, as you can see. I can still spam it just fine without it. You don't need to get that much perfect timing window. The Salem I'm using is because it's Raven touched, has a bunch of crit, it is a crit build. Has accuracy, which is nice since it does go all over the screen, and it has a nice amount of evasion and armor. And then we allocate Tainted Strike there, which is from the Raven Touch. You're gonna make sure it is Raven touched. It should be pretty cheap. I bought this for like 5x. Obviously it'll probably go up a little bit. So that is the interaction with SNIPE. I'll go over the rest of the gear now. We got big flat damage rings. I should honestly have like a triple flat damage ring here. So since you don't get much damage on the bow itself, you really need to make sure your rings are up to par. So T1, T2, attack damage there, T2, T2, some life. Ideally you have 3 and 3, I think, or maybe 2 and then life, because it is life based. But yeah. Then Hyries will add 18% of damage as extra cold and gives you a lot of evasion stuff. Socketed in here, I do have a Fox Idol, which idols now gain their bottom modifiers, and that allows me to get all this good stuff over here. Which gives quality, spirit, and then the spirit is from the Carved Majesty. This is pretty expensive. Don't need it, you're just going to need to mess around with your auras. Rabbit Idol gives rarity. So then this amulet, I bought a cast on dodge base because it is way cheaper than getting an eternal rage base. This is a lot of damage. It's basically 30% more damage. But getting a base with this is very, very expensive. So I went for cast on dodge. This is kind of bad for 2 reasons. One, Well, I guess it's mainly one reason. Main reason is cast on dodge, right? This gives us dodge roll distance. But since it's an implicit, I cannot quality it with gem cutter, so I'm losing 20 quality, and it makes me quite a bit slower, but not that bad. If you are not on a tight budget, I would get one with Eternal Rage and get +3 proj, and then get the quality, and then evasion in life, or like maybe energy shield if you're gonna go hybrid. Hero's Gambit is the quiver here. This gives us a bunch of stuff. It's really OP. It just gives a ton of damage and clear. Very, very nice. I think you don't need it. It's very nice. I don't think you need it. You might want to, like, if you're trying to do this on a low budget, which I don't necessarily recommend, but it is doable, probably want to get a regular rare quiver with a ton of flat damage and then plus levels on it. Gloves, I just got some flat damage. I actually need to upgrade the gloves. They're not that great. I could get another attack damage. I could get another res. The leech doesn't really help much here. I'm using a mage blood. I have diamond, topaz, silver, and stibnite. So crit, cast speed, some res, and some evasion. Ideally, I think I'd want diamond, silver, quicksilver, and then maybe a dupe or stibnite's nice too. Then Decree of Flight, this just gives them some dodge roll distance. So it is decent. If you don't want to do the dodge roll stuff, you really don't have to. It is not necessary. Now the skills. Cast on dodge, I just have Flame Wall. You could do like Refutation or something. I just stick in Flame Wall when I don't really want to worry about it. This doesn't really cost any mana. You could do Curse Setup, that costs mana. You could do Refutation. Got a few different options there. You could do the Voltaic Wall thing. There's a wall. Voltaic Barrier. That could be kind of nice. And then for support gems, I have the big one of the big ones. They're all pretty big, actually. All these are pretty important. Window of Opportunity gives deflection rating equal to 15% of evasion rating. This is kind of insane, actually, and I don't need that many stacks. But look at my chance to deflect. Here is 7%. Now, watch what happens if I start spamming it. Realistically, I will be at 10 stacks in a map. So it's pretty much permanent uptime, 95% chance to deflect. Then I am using Garcons, not necessary, but very, very nice. If you don't use that, I'd probably use Primal Armament or something. Salia's Rhythm, very important here. It gets 10% more damage for each stack, and it goes up to 5 stacks. And if you fail it, you lose all of them. But you really shouldn't fail this too often. If you do, you need to fix your attack speed. Then supported skills have a 30% shorter timing window for each stack. This also doesn't really matter. It is offset by the quality and the opportunity. But it also does have 100% longer in general, so it's only at 50% shorter. Perfected Endurance here gives us a ton of endurance charges, which using Resonance here, it actually gives us Frenzies. And Frenzies are good for Barrage, since the more Frenzies you consume, it will repeat more times. And then also using Charge Regulation gives skill speed when you have a Frenzy, which is pretty much always. And then I am using Pin here, which gives some crit and is a decent defense. It stops every enemy in their tracks, but that's not the main reason. The main reason is Combat Frenzy. When you pin, it gives you a Frenzy charge. But with this, it is changed to a power charge. That's the main part of charge regulation, is 25% more crit. That is really, really good. And it will also have 100% uptime. Now about Barrage, you can either use this or don't. It's kind of cool to see it explode the screen really hard. But the big thing here is Olroth's Conviction. It gains an extra runic ward cost, so you do need a little bit for this. I only have 76, that's fine. You run it with efficiency. And basically it empowers 2 additional skill uses, so when you use it, now you can actually empower 3 attacks instead of 1. Pretty neat. You do need to keep in mind when you use it though, you cannot just tap it. Because when you just tap it, then it is not fast enough. You do have to hold it for like a little bit. If you get enough attack speed, you can just tap it. Then tornado shot here. Like I said, you throw it down and then boom. Gives you more arrows and helps her clear. They like spread out everywhere. Very nice. Anything else major here? I think that's about it, honestly. I am making sure. Actually, I'm not right now. I think it is bugged actually, but I will say you ideally give me a stupid usable thing. Okay. You're gonna want to have int gems as your most numerous support gem for this, which skills have 30% less cost. If your mana is fine and you don't need to use that, you can go red. But I think this might actually be bugged and not work, because if you look, I'm at 12. If I remove it, it's still the same cost. If I remove another one so they're not balanced, it's still the same cost, right? Actually, no, it's working now. Earlier when I tested that, it was working, and no matter what I did, it would not fix the tooltip, changing zones, whatever. So I guess balancing it actually works here. So I might as well put another red in. So make sure they're balanced. Strength, dex, and int. So yeah, I guess that's a good segue to the build being finicky. So if you get too much attack speed, you can actually mess up your combo. I'm not 100% sure on the breakpoints of this. It is very weird. Sometimes it will change nothing and it will stop working, so you kind of need to pay attention to this. It's not like it's not as bad as it sounds. But like, you see, if I get rid of this attack speed, it's actually fine. Let me get rid of more attack speed. And it's still fine. Anyway, oh wait, there we go. Or is that just because of my mana? If your mana runs out and you use it, it will mess up your stacks too. So yeah, of course it's not really showing me here. Maybe skill speed. Skill speed actually interacts with the perfect timing differently than attack speed does, which is kind of weird, and I don't know exactly why, but it does. I'm guessing because it is technically a different stat than attack speed, so it scales it differently. And basically what this means is you might need a certain amount of attack speed, but not a certain amount of skill speed. I would like to give specific numbers, but there really isn't a specific number here. Not that I can come up with anyways. So if it stops working for any reason, you have two courses of action here. One, you need more attack speed or less. Or two, you need less skill speed. Skill speed can be used if you need more attack speed, but it's finicky. Like I said, yeah, really, if it stops working perfectly, like if you look up here and you see your Thessalia's rhythm start losing stacks, what you need to do is click random attack speed nodes on your tree until it works again. So I could go here, click skill speed, and then there's a big attack speed there. There's some other ones around. You'll need to figure it out. Good luck. I mean, it's actually not bad. You just need to click random stuff till it works. Whenever I need to fix it, it takes me like 30 seconds. There's not really any thinking involved. And then we got SNIPE gem there. Pretty nice. We got split personality. This is how I'm starting from Ranger. So basically you will path up to Ranger. From here, your actual starting point with Merc. Make sure you get the jewel socket, have these both connected, put it in the jewel socket, then you can manually unspec from the Gemling starting area and you can just do Ranger. I chose Ranger because it gives attack speed, which you tend to need. I think starting with the Monk Zone is probably better, but it's also way more expensive. And yeah, that's about it. That's the build. I'll make a more fleshed out build guide as I build out the character. Still kind of in the early stages. But yeah, solid. Very cool.